Okay, so now we cross to Shanghai to welcome tHwee Ning, VP Marketing for Greater China at Zespri. Zespri, of course, is the very famous kiwi fruit, and tHwee will tell us a little bit about that as we go through the interview. So previously, tHwee held global roles for Zespri in Singapore. Prior to that, worked with in marketing for Mondelez and also P&G, where she covered global travel retail. So tHwee has a unique marketing perspective, both from within China, but also with a global lens as well. And I think that makes, that's really unique, and it'll be fascinating to get your perspective on things, tHwee. So thank you firstly for joining us. We really appreciate it. Many marketers outside of China look at Double 11 as just a mega sale. You know, discounts are undoubtedly a driver, but is that all there is to it in your opinion?
Well, discounts are an important part of Double 11, but this is not all there is to Double 11. Double 11 in China is basically a huge festival. It's an extravaganza in itself, with events stretching from entertainment galas to gamifications to huge celebrities live streaming. So it is a whole series of events starting from the 20th of October and celebrations and contents that leads up to 11th of November. It's beyond just, well, discount is a huge part, shopping is just a part of the process. But what consumers are getting through the whole 3 weeks is a series of non-stop content and entertainment.
Yeah, that's interesting, because just to follow that theme along, you know, many marketers would say, well, Double 11 is a bit like Black Friday or a bit like a Prime Day. Obviously, the entertainment component makes it different, but just expand upon that a little bit. What makes it different to some of the other big sale days around the world in retail?
I would say the two key differences, say to a Black Friday or a Prime Day. So a Black Friday is the start of the holiday shopping season for the US, whereas Double 11 is a created festival by the local platforms just for the local consumers itself. And that means it's different from when there is an existing shopping behavior. It's a created shopping behavior that Double 11 has cultivated. And two, Double 11, all of us have heard about the sheer size and scale of Double 11. In China, it's not just a single platform or a single retailer, but you've got multiple platforms, multiple retailers like Taobao, JD.com, Douyin, Pinduoduo, etc., all participating in Double 11.
Yeah, that is different. And that's, I mean, Alibaba appropriated the festival in the first place from its Singles Day origin, but now everybody takes part and has become much, much bigger than just Alibaba alone. Why do Chinese consumers love it? And I suppose as part of that question, I mean, do they love it?
Well, they do. They do. Like I said, Double 11 is a massive extravaganza. So, you know, the consumers here are looking for entertainment. They're looking for content. So shopping is just a part of that process. Through the 3 weeks leading up to Double 11, you've got gamifications, you've got galas, you've got celebrity live streamings, limited edition products being launched all through these 3 weeks. So it is designed to give the best form of entertainment and celebrations to consumer as a festival in itself, with shopping happening to be a part of it, by the way.
Yeah, that's a lovely way of thinking about it, actually, is if you do things right, the purchase happens. Shopping is a byproduct. You head up marketing in Greater China for Zespri, and is Double 11 a big part of Zespri's year, or how does it work?
So Zespri is focused on kiwi fruit. So we are in a seasonal and perishable industry or category. So that makes it slightly different for the fresh category as opposed to the conventional FMCG for a number of reasons. One, consumers are not able to load up on perishables during Double 11. And two, due to seasonality, November is also the tail end of the New Zealand season for us at Zespri. But Double 11 is still an important festival for us to participate in from a brand building perspective, just because of the sheer volume of traffic and consumers that are present during this festival. We can't afford to not be present. So Zespri has been participating in Double 11 since 2020 through, like this year, limited edition products, through live streamings, through working with our key opinion leaders to tell our Zespri story, which is almost the peak of our kind of a closing off of our New Zealand season in November.
Grand finale.
Yes, the grand finale.
And so how do you work through the rest of the year then to build up to Double 11? How do you work Zespri marketing through the year as a whole?
So in China, we focus on building the whole Zespri kiwi fruit as a enjoyable, healthy experience. So we focus on the global brand communication platform in China. We localize it, which is called Make Your Healthy Irresistible. So we believe that healthy should also be an enjoyable experience for our consumers. And through the year, this year, especially given that it's also the year of the Olympics, we work with the China national volleyball team captain, Zhu Ting, since April to launch our New Zealand season in China to introduce consumers to a healthy experience, which is also enjoyable. Just like how Zhu Ting, while she is a professional and high achieving volleyball player, she's also able to enjoy her life. She's also able to show the lighter sides of life.
Yes.
So we've been working with her through April and leading out to November, where we've designed for Double 11 a limited edition pack with the China Aerospace and Technology Corporation, which is relevant to what consumers are seeking. Because this year, if you're following some of the news on China, you will know that this is a huge year for China when it comes to space exploration. There's a huge interest amongst consumers. So we tap into what is trending and popular in the consumer's vernacular and creating content that's relevant to them by creating this limited edition pack and working with Zhu Ting, who's our super KOL, as a grand finale of our New Zealand season, where she shows herself unboxing this limited edition pack with our consumers on live streaming on popular platforms such as Weibo and Douyin.
How fun. So the pack deconstructs and then reconstructs into a rocket, which is, I love it. I love the China space tie-in too.
It does. It is a very interesting piece of design because it creates content that's relevant, trending for the consumer. It also allows us to continue to tell a story, which is all about making that experience, that Zespri kiwi fruit eating experience, fun, engaging, and enjoyable. So healthy doesn't have to be dull or boring. Healthy can be extremely enjoyable, can be extremely irresistible for our consumers. And that tie up with the whole aviation, with the whole space exploration theme, and with our spokesperson Zhu Ting help us to bring that alive.
Now, from the time that you started putting that pack together for Double 11 to the time that it culminated, tell us about that.
So I'm sure most people outside China have heard of the word China speed, and it is impossible to imagine it to have seen it. It took us between 6 to 8 weeks prior to launch at the end of October to put a pack together from scratch. It's amazing China speed, and just because consumers' tastes and preferences and trends are changing so rapidly, we just have as brands to be able to keep up with them and stay relevant.
Yeah, fantastic. A couple of the things that you talked about there were very much about content and interesting and different content. Just unpack that a little bit for us more in terms of what the Chinese consumer demands and how you're fulfilling that need.
So in China, increasingly, with all the fragmentation of the various platforms like TikTok or Douyin as they call it in China, Weibo and all, increasingly content is king. I'm sure many people outside of China have heard that consumers are choosing what they want to view and where they want to spend time,
Mhm.
as opposed to the more traditional ways of marketing, where a brand decides what they want to say to a consumer. First, the brand, like us, have to earn our permission to speak to the consumer by being relevant, by being creating content that consumers are interested in to earn that permission to tell them our brand story. And that's almost the reverse way of thinking it, which is why in Zespri sometimes we also focus on what we call a media-led content approach. We look at the right touch point and based on the consumer, design the right content that's relevant to that touch point.
Uh, that's really interesting, and is perhaps one thing that marketers outside of China can learn from, well, from Double 11, but also just retail in China generally. Are there other things that are important that you think, from your perspective of operating on a global level and now operating within China, that you think that marketers outside of China can learn?
Well, I think the most important things that's relevant lessons for marketers outside China is definitely one, China's speed, as we talk about, and two, creating content that's relevant that consumers want to see,
Yes.
as opposed to saying what the brand, starting with what the brand wants to say. And lastly, don't forget to make the experience fun.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just all about selling and pricing, and that's not a sustained approach. But the entire experience has to be fun, has to be engaging for the consumer.
What about integrating online and offline? Do you think, and again, for Zespri, I'm sure being a fresh product offline is tremendously important. Are you marketers in China, do you think, more effective at integrating online and offline than outside of China?
I think the landscape in China compels us to do so. So if you look at the Zespri business in China, increasingly a huge part of our business is pivoting to an online business. But there are still a lot of consumers who are doing shopping at the corner fruit shop around their neighborhood. So it is important to ensure that we are looking at it from a shopper or consumer's perspective. Consumers and shoppers are purchasing both offline and online. They're not a pure online shopper, neither are they a pure offline shopper. So it's important that we are able to bring our content from both offline to online and vice versa through in terms of live streaming. Live streaming has provided us a great avenue to be able to do live streaming of some of our wholesale markets,
Yeah.
where consumers who have the first-hand experience of fresh fruit coming from live streaming.
Mhm.
Being able to ensure that every content we create has the ability to travel into the online space, be it traditional out of home, we will ensure that we are able to create content out of home advertising that allows us to then bring it into an online space for subsequent viral transmission.
Mhm.
So there is a lot in ensuring, I guess, in China, just the ecosystem, just the fact that consumers are seamlessly switching between online and offline compels us to be able to be really consumer centric,
Mm.
focusing on that offline to online linkage.
And I suppose at the shelf too, using your mobile to find out more about Zespri, to find out more about that particular variety, that's going to be an important thing too, isn't it?
It is. Chinese consumers are very used and well practiced in terms of scanning QR codes. So the ability to participate and engage with the brand through QR code scanning, through being able to provide more information. So if you look at all our packs in store, it all comes with a QR code that allows consumer to be able to scan the QR code to understand more about the brand, to be able to also contact us via that. So that effectively allows us to link our offline to our online and to engage digitally with our consumers as well.
Yeah, great. Uh, Coming back to the beginning in a way, I mean, there are two themes that keep coming through in the interviews that David Roth in London and myself have been doing about Double 11 and Hari as well. One is the sheer scale of the event, which is mind-boggling, and the logistics involved. and the pressure it puts on marketers like yourself too to deliver during that time, but the scale of it. And the other is the infectious energy of 11/11 and the fun of the festival. And you kind of alluded to this a little bit during the interview, but have we lost some of the fun of shopping outside of China? Should we be working a little harder to make shopping fun for consumers?
Well, I would say so for China, what has come out of the learning, some of the key learnings you can take away from China out of Double 11 is going back to what the consumers want and what they seek in the shopping experience, which is enjoyment, fun, and entertainment. And by ensuring we look at the experience as a whole, as opposed to just the selling part of it, by making it fun, by making it engaging, will allow the brand to be able to speak to more consumers, will also ensure that it's something that's more engaging and more consumers are willing to participate in the process versus just focusing on hardcore selling.
Yeah, I think sometimes perhaps we do get lost a little bit in the transaction side of things, particularly in an e-commerce enabled world, and just remembering to build in some of the things that you've talked about, I think are really important. tHwee, I know that you've taken a lot of time out of your very busy schedule to talk to us today. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your insights. And as we've been saying to everybody through this day and since November 1, really, happy Double 11. I hope it's very, very successful for you.
Thank you.